Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. I hope you had a great weekend, ladies and gentlemen. I had a very busy weekend and very busy week ahead, but I thought I'd take a break and talk to you all about how in the past I've talked about how one day prepping channels and prepping related content creators would be censored and even taken off of YouTube and the mainstream. And I came across an article here that's very interesting as to how that is beginning to happen. I believe that the more scarce that food and the things that we need to live become, and the more that people like me, like all the other prepping channels that there are on YouTube, because there's a whole bunch, talk about how important it is for you to be prepared, that the more that these types of channels, content creators, will be censored. So I believe that one day we are going to be the ones that are fighting the fight against censorship just for telling people, hey, you need to be prepared. Robert Richardson, mainstream media weaponizing AI, stealing content to get rid of legitimate prepping and survival sites. And this is just one of the ways that they're going to do it. There's going to come a time, ladies and gentlemen, with the way that AI is going, there's going to come a time where you're not even going to know if it's me here talking. They're going to be able to take like a whole bunch of videos from the past and put them together and make it sound like me and all these kinds of stuff. Now, I'm not saying me in particular. I'm no one very important, but you know what I mean. They're going to be able to put something on a screen and you're going to look at it and you're going to think that it's something that is 100% not. Robert Richardson, founder of the Off-Grid Survival website, has warned that the mainstream media is weaponizing artificial intelligence to get rid of legitimate prepping and survival sites. Now, why would they be doing this, ladies and gentlemen? That's the question we want to ask. Why would the mainstream, and at whose order would the mainstream want to get rid of prepping and survival sites? What kind of competition are prepping and survival sites to the mainstream media? Think about that. Instead of articles written by experienced preppers, Richardson warned that there are a lot of new prepping websites full of AI-generated and stolen content run by fake preppers. Richardson said his website first encountered trouble when a mainstream media giant tried to acquire the company. The company promised the Off-Grid Survival team a lot of money if they would let them take over the site while pretending it was still an independent outlet. Richardson and the other members of the site refused. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before I continue, let me just go ahead and warn you all. The only places that I exist in the prepping community within social media is YouTube, Patreon. I believe I have an Odyssey account and Rumble. I believe that's it, where I have actually actively opened an account and participate in one or many of those accounts simultaneously. But just to let you know that if you run across some kind of a website that has my name on it, that's not me. They may be using my videos, and I don't know about the legality of that, to tell you the truth, but they may have my videos linked on there or something like that, but that is not me. So why do I say this? So that you can be careful. If you go to like a website that has the Alaska Prepper name associated with it, be careful on those websites because it's not me on there. I have no idea what they may be offering there. But anyways, I digress. I'm not a financial advisor, but the folks at Genesis Gold Group specialize in helping those who want to diversify their excess wealth by converting their fiat currency retirement plans into a plan that is backed by real money. So if you're in a position where you are wondering what you can do in order to diversify or insulate your wealth against what I like to call the inferno of inflation, give Genesis Gold Group a call and they can provide you with the information that you need in order to make an educated decision. They were also offered to do some television shows, but they declined after finding out that these shows wanted to present them with a fake backstory to the public. In other words, to make them look goofy. Right? Because preppers are goofy people that have tinfoil hats in their closets. They were even asked to pretend to live in a cabin deep in the wilderness. I've been solicited, ladies and gentlemen, several times by news organizations, but I will not deal with them. I will not deal with them. Why? Whether they're big or small, I won't deal with them. Why? Because look at what they did to that show, Doomsday Preppers. Doomsday Preppers, they accomplished two things, in my opinion. they were able to put people out there that looked, not all of them, but some of them, right? See, you don't need to show every prepper as a nut, right? To make people remember that prepper that was a nut. So on that Doomsday Prepper, they show a whole bunch of different types of preppers, and most of them were average people, right? But who do you remember? What kind of preppers do you remember from the show? You remember the ones that were nutty. I remember the one guy that made his own bulletproof vest that was later on arrested because he was handling firearms on that show, and he was an ex-convict. I remember that guy. I can see him in my mind right now. I remember the nutty guy, right? And that's who most people remember. So when they hear the word prepper or get prepared, that's what they think about. And they're like, whoa, this is nonsense. So the other thing that I remember from that show, Doomsday Preppers, is that if you go back and look, and you can go back right now, look at any episode. Let's say, for example, they were doing an episode where they were doing like two people, right, or two families. And one family was, for example, preparing for a financial collapse. You know, they would go through all of the preps that they had and give them a score on how long they would survive and all that kind of stuff. But in the end of every single one of those circumstances or situations, they would say, well, even though, you know, we had a financial collapse on this day, whatever, the practicality of we having another financial collapse is 0 to none. Or even though, you know, we had a coronal mass ejection in the year 1859 called the Carrington event, the possibility of that happening again is 0 to nil. Pretty much negating why these people are preparing. Pretty much telling people, you don't need to prepare. This ain't never going to happen. So those are the two things that I see that the Doomsday Prepper shows did to keep people from prepping. It was all a psyops, ladies and gentlemen. Not only did they get clicks and ratings because it was entertaining, but they were able to also subconsciously install into the public's psyche that you don't need to prepare, and that some of these people that prepare, if not most of them, are goofy and crazy, so you shouldn't do it either. Another connected media organization retaliated by trademarking the website's name and at the same time employing a team of lawyers from the West Coast to silence the off-grid survival team and attempt to shut the site down. Again, why? Why is a mainstream media site, a big one that is big enough to afford to hire lawyers and to try to shut these people down, to buy their trademark, all that kind of stuff, why are they now so interested in shutting down the voice of preppers? That's the question, ladies and gentlemen, that we need to ask ourselves. And that, I would say, is one of the reasons why we should prepare even harder. They tried to resist these coordinated attacks, but the once thriving site was then attacked on other fronts. Other prepping websites have been deliberately shadow banned, deplatformed, and eradicated from major search engines, in most cases being replaced by corporate entities masquerading as ordinary people. And Richardson shared the devastating attacks, they say, of their attacks on his website. The website went from having as many as 20,000 visitors online at any given time to just a handful. The website has been shadow banned by Twitter and suspended several times. More than 150,000 people were removed from their Facebook page, and their reach was so limited that posting on social media platforms is now pointless. The site was shadow banned on Instagram with its content censored because the account covered a gun trade show. And the list goes on and on, ladies and gentlemen. As I stated in the past, these things are going to continue to happen, and they're going to escalate as things in the mainstream get worse and we have a more bleak future to look at. All right, so all you have to do is open up any news site and take a look at what's going on around the world, ladies and gentlemen. All right, take a look at what's going on around the world, and you should be able to make an educated decision that maybe getting prepared is a good thing to do. Right. So having said that, I have so many other stories that I really want to talk about, but we can't do it all in one video because it would take forever. But I just thought that this here video is important. That way, maybe some people that maybe aren't really familiar with the prepping community and maybe watch this video, that maybe you'll understand that there's not a lot of crazies behind the word prepping. Right? And that now the word prepping is going to be attacked henceforth. Why? Because prepping is very important. And how do you control the people, ladies and gentlemen? With fear and with controlling the resources that people need in order to live. Right. So having said that, I hope that you have a great day today. Listen, I have a second video coming out today. I'll put it out later on this afternoon. You're going to want to watch this video because it has to do with being able to keep your house running during a grid down situation, a long-term grid down situation, right? And I want to say that the experiment that I did actually turned out pretty good and pretty promising for if we ever did have a long-term grid down situation. So I hope that you join in for that one later on today when I post it. Have a great rest of your day. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.